There we go. All right, guys. So welcome to tonight. We are going to be talking about frontline focus today. So as we go through, we have some people that joined us live. Otherwise, if you're not, just ask questions in the link and whenever I post this, whatever, send me a message, all that good stuff. I am Tori Benitez, and like I said, we're going to talk about frontline focus, focusing on your frontline. So first and foremost, when we're talking about our frontline, you want to make sure that the more active frontline you have, the bigger paycheck you're going to get. Okay. So I'm going to repeat that again. The more active frontline you have, the bigger paycheck you're going to have. So what I want you to do, I shared with you guys the checks. So if you were able to print that out, what I want you to do is monthly from here on out. I want you to plan for the next month's paycheck. And I want you to put your goal on these. Okay. So if you're looking for a $3,000 paycheck, I want you to put $3,000 on there. If you're like, I'm good with the $2,000 paycheck, put $2,000. Be realistic with these. This isn't the big dream paycheck, where we're like, oh, I want to make $10,000 with Cincy one day. This paycheck is, what do you think you can accomplish on a monthly basis? Okay. So I want you to put that down. And then on the back of it, what I want you to do is I want you to say what this paycheck is going to cover. Okay. So what is this? Mine says $3,000. What is this $3,000 going to cover for me? All right. It's going to cover products that I buy. It's going to cover for myself from Cincy. It's going to cover any products that I buy for myself for my health. It's going to cover any of the fun games that I like to play on my phone that I have to buy. I buy coins, I buy this, and I buy that. That's what that's for. But it's also for paying for my girls to go to swim. I also want to start being able to pay my full van, which is like a freaking mortgage, with just my Cincy money. Okay, so those are my goals. And adding all of that together, that's realistic with this paycheck and still be able to have some afterwards for my Cincy business, for business supplies, for any of that. Okay, so there's a reason I'm having you do this. It's not just, let's talk about the money right now, but put that down on this paycheck. And on the back, I want you to write what it's going to pay for. So every month, I want you to start doing this. Okay, there were 3 to the page that I sent you guys. So you're able to print 3 at a time, cut them up. What I'm doing with my bind, I have a binder that's just going to be focused on my frontline. So I'm going to have a new binder. This binder is only going to be for my frontline focus. So this is only going to be information about my frontline. So what I'm doing is I'm putting this check, I'm going to stick it in the little pocket on the side each month so that every time I look at this and I'm looking at my frontline, I see what my goals are. Because yes, my PRV is important, but I need to start working with my frontline more and start giving them suggestions and tips on getting them active. Okay. Active frontline is key when it comes to this, which is why we're going to talk about the frontline focus. Okay. So with that, oh, my desk is a mess, guys. So when we're doing this and we're looking at all of the papers and everything that I gave, so I'm going to kind of break those down and then kind of go out and then kind of follow my notes. So I'm going to have 3 sections in this binder. One is going to be called titles and promotions. And what I'm putting in here is a little bit more than what I put in the folder, and I can definitely put everything else in there for you guys. But because I have this one, the one that I said, the one with the essential to certified, launch for lead, all of that. So I'm going to put my, starting next month, I'm going to put all of my frontline on their title here so that I know where they're going. And I can kind of watch them each month to see, okay, where are their numbers at? Do they look like they're someone that could go for that next promotion? Are they someone that's hitting the numbers consistently for being paid at title? Or do we need to focus on getting paid at title before we move to that next piece? Okay. So having this and being able to see who all your essential consultants are, who all of your certified consultants are, that's the way that you're going to be able to see who you can work with. So start putting that down, tracking that piece on here. Now, what I'm putting in here is my document on how to promote, so that when I'm looking at this, I'm able to see what each of them needs to be able to do that. Now, with this is going to come on where you're going to start talking more one-on-one with your team, one-on-one with your frontline, having more coaching conversations with them. And so I have coaching checklist for each title, so that I know what I should be talking to with each of those titles with my team members. Okay. So like if they're an essential consultant, the first couple things we need to talk about are shooting star, having a launch party, whether that's at home or it's online, depending on what they're comfortable with right now. You know, a lot of us, you know, some of us started during the pandemic, so we had nothing at home. We didn't have anything in person. And that's something you need to know when you're talking to your team. You need to know that information about your team. When did they start? Did they start during the pandemic when everything was online? Or did they join before the pandemic, got through that hyper growth, and then they're in this lull like I am right now, where I haven't recruited anybody in a couple months and my PRV is like on this roller coaster ride right now, you know? So when you're looking at it, you're going to be looking at it yourself for yourself, but you're also looking at it to see where your team needs help or where they are in their business. Are they being consistent with being active? Are they being consistent with doing specific things to make them hit that next level? Okay. I went ahead of myself like I always do when I'm talking. That's why y'all are probably like, what the hell is she talking about? But so I have the coaching forms in here, just so that I know what I need to talk to each of them. And then I also have the congratulations on your promotion, so that I know what to talk to them about for when we're having those coaching calls about promoting to the next level. Okay, so those are all going to be in my binder for my frontline focus. Now, the next part, this is the really, really important piece. This is where the big chunk of what we're going to talk about today is going to fall. So this paper right here, let me actually grab a blank one. I don't need y'all seeing people's information. So this paper right here, I did it two-sided. So I did the information. Oh, that still has somebody's name. I think I went very far, but that has somebody's name on it. Hold on. Had a lot more people than I thought I did. There we go. Okay. I didn't finish filling them all out today, but okay. So this is the blank one. Okay. So it has a spot for their name. It has a spot for their join date. So you know how long they have been with you on this journey. Again, this is for your front line only right now. Okay. We're only focusing on the front line. We're not looking at anything else but those level ones on your reports. Okay. Level one on the report. When you run a report, they're the people you have personally sponsored or people that have rolled up to you because people have dropped. And if you don't know how to find that level, I can show you guys, but I'd have to do that one-on-one because I've got to block stuff out. And yeah, so it's in the reporting downline level. So when you're going through this, what I love about this, you know what, let me just share my screen and that might be easier. So look at this, then me holding up a piece of paper. All right, there we go. Perfect. Okay. See, I'm more tech savvy. All the other people, they were holding up the paper and I'm like, I can show you guys just by sharing my screen with y'all. All right, so with this paper, like I said, it has the name, it has the join date, and then you have for those that are newer, it has shooting star and sensational start. So you can write down if they've taken that, if they took shooting star, and if they did the sensational start piece. Now, this next part is what's going to be key. Okay. So right now we're in April. So what you're going to do is you are going to go back into January, February, March, and you're going to fill in January, February, and March for each of these. So PRV, GWV, team, new recruit, how many active frontlines did they have? What title? Did they attend a training? Okay, so like right now, I have Amy, she's my frontline. Christy, who is she's my level 2, but I treat her as my frontline because she's one of my rock stars. And so I treat her as a frontline. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to put training attended and put the date that we did that. Okay. The next one is the coaching call. When's the last time that we spoke? In January? You know, did we talk in January? Did we talk in February? When was the last time that we had talked and what did we talk about? Now, each of your calls, you should be making notes on this paper. I have a planner that I actually use to make notes on when I'm talking with my teamies. When I'm having those coaching calls, it's easier for me just because when I have a coaching call, it's going to take up more than, what's on the space provided. I write big, so it's going to take up a little bit more space than what's on there. So I just use a planner and I can show you guys the way that, was it this one? So I kind of, okay, can y'all even see me? So like on the weekly piece, I kind of go through and I just write down information. This is from my actual job, but I do the same thing with each person that I talk to. I write down the notes and the things I need to do and follow up with on the weekly part of my planner so that I can go back and check. I can flip back to that on our next coaching call and ask them, hey, did you do X, Y, and Z? Were you able to have those Facebook parties? Were you able to, do those things? So I'm holding myself accountable on checking in with them, and they're also holding themselves accountable with doing those tasks that we talked about. Okay, so the reason why you want to make sure that you're looking at the PRV each month, okay? One of the biggest things is we are huge on shouting out our top 10, our top 5. Oh, look at you. You recruited somebody. Awesome job. Our top recruiters, all of this. Now, one of the biggest things that we need to make sure that we're doing now is actually going in and finding those people that are doing things not on a consistent basis where they're not going to fall into our top 10. Okay, so if we have a top 10, well, let's say somebody hit 200 and they hadn't hit it for 4 months and they hit it, that's something that we should be celebrating for them. That isn't something that we should be overlooking. But if we're so focused on that top 10, top 5 number, we're not seeing all of those accomplishments. And putting it on paper, writing it down every single month, you're able to see the pattern that your people are doing. So if you have someone that's active in January, but not active in February, active in March, but not active in April, you're able to kind of see a pattern on the way that they work their business. There's no right or wrong way for someone to work their business because it's their business. But if we're focusing on our frontline, we need to be aware of how often people are doing that. Now, if we have a huge launch, like let's say we had Jack Skellington come back out and we noticed that, okay, they had 0 PRV, 0 PRV, 0 PRV. We have Jack Skellington and they have 1,500 PRV. That's something that we need to be recognizing. That's something that we need to make a note. Hey, they have Jack Skellington people that are on their list for customers. Okay, so we need to be more in tune to what's going on in our team's business. And this breakdown right here is a way to see that. All right, now, if we have someone that is sitting at 50 PRV, 100 PRV, 0 PRV, but their GWV is constantly growing, but their PRV is staying the same, we need to look into their downline and find out who that person is that is helping shoot that PRV up, who is helping them to push so that we can start focusing on them, because that person's going to be most likely your future director or somebody that is going to roll up because the people in front of them aren't working their business consistently and are not going to stay in this business. They're going to end up having to roll up, and they're going to be your person. So you need to make sure that you're following and looking at them. Saw something pop up. Hold on. When in the reporting, do you find their monthly PRV? Yes. The only thing I don't think we can see is the lifetime PRV. I'll look and see about the lifetime, but everything else on here, title, active frontline, new recruit, team, and GWV and PRV is all on the downline report. So it's all up on the top tab, and I can next time we chat, I can show you where that's at. The lifetime PRV is the only one that I'm not 100% sure how to figure that one out yet. So I'll have to play around and see if there's an easier way. Oh, you can ask them. Yeah, that's a good way to do that too. Yeah. And so that brings me to the back of my sheet. So the back of my sheet that I have is the other paper that I sent you guys, which is basically like the information. All right. Getting to know this person. Now, are we sending this out in like a Google form? No. Are we sending this out and printing it out and sending it to them to fill out and mail back to us? No. We are not doing any of those things because one, they're most likely not going to do it. And two, that's not being personable. Okay. That's not actually building that relationship. Okay. So when we're doing this, we want to make sure that you are building the relationship with your team. They are not just a number, and they should not feel like just a number. You need to be building that relationship. So if you're talking to them or you see them post something about, like I know that Amy loves, they do the Harley motorcycles. Okay. I know this because one, she posted about it. And two, when we were in SFR, she was looking for a store so she could find her token for that. I think it was a token. So I can write that down on something that she likes on this, that she likes Harley Davidson. Her and her husband enjoy doing that. I know that she has a son that's a trucker. Under kids' names, I can go and put that information down on there. Okay. So for each one of them, it's something that you're either looking at their Facebook page, or just stuff that you are having an actual conversation with them. Okay. When you first have somebody sign up, most of the time you're going to meet with them, you're going to chat with them, and you're going to be like, hey, okay, so what made you decide to finally say yes? Okay. Why did you join? And if they were reluctant to join in the first place, okay, you didn't want to join, but now why are you still here? What's the purpose of you being here? And that's something that's big, because you need to know, are they actually wanting to work, or are they just wanting to buy for themselves? Are they wanting to just let what happens happen? Or, are they really, really wanting to actually make a paycheck out of this? What is it that they want for their Scentsy business? And this is something you need to know, because if you keep pressuring them and talking to them, and they're going to end up just shutting down and you give them too much information, they're going to shut down. So you need to start learning about them, learning their style, learning what best works for them. I know Christy is a hands-on person. I know that if I do a training where I'm training a specific program, I know that I'm going to have to walk her through this. Amy, the same thing. I know for the two of them, when I do a training, I need to make sure that I'm showing it on the screen. And then I let them go and do it as well. So we're doing it at the same time. But I know that because I worked with them. If I hadn't worked with them, I wouldn't know that about them. So knowing how they best work is what's really going to be best on that part. And then anytime that they are having anytime they promote, up at the top, it says essential certified lead. You're going to circle that. And I'm old. You're going to circle those, and as they promote, so that you know where they're at, where their journey is taking them. Are they still stuck at essential? Guess what? They may be okay with being at essential. They may not care to become certified. And when they finally do, that's something we're still going to celebrate for them, even though we know it may have taken them a year to hit it, but we're still going to celebrate them. Okay. Because that's still a milestone. So just kind of knowing that information, we're not going to sit on a call and be like, hey, what's your favorite color? Like, that's just random. Okay. Like most of the time people can kind of figure out what your favorite color is based on what you wear, based on your color of your hair, different things like that. So kind of doing that, I know that Alicia loves sunflowers. Okay. And guess what? Almost anybody that either looks at her, if she shows her face or she has a picture on, most of the time you're going to see a sunflower in her background on her shirt, or something. See? So again, it's something that leopard is not a color. She's gonna fight me. Leopard is a color. Okay, I'm sorry. Leopard is a color. But anyway, so like I said, just knowing, picking up on those little things when you're talking to people is the part that's going to make you stand out a little bit on pieces like that. Yes, my favorite color is purple too. I love purple. So again, knowing that information is what's key when it comes to your frontline. Now, okay, so now let me kind of back up a little bit and actually check my notes to make sure I've said everything I needed to say about all of these papers. Oh, and then real quick before I move on, the last section that I have in my binder is a will cancel or canceled divider. Now, the reason I have this in here is because when somebody turns to a will cancel, I'm going to move them behind here because there's somebody that I need to make sure that I'm checking in with that month specifically. But then I'm also going to follow up with them when they're eligible to reinstate, because reinstating is free, doesn't cost them anything unless they want the reinstatement kit. So just having the paper with your frontline information there, you're able to still have the information on them in this binder, just in a different section. Okay, so it's my canceled or will cancel piece so that they know where I can find that and when I need to follow up with them. All right. Okay, so before I go back over my notes, make sure I said everything I needed to say because I'm pretty sure I missed all kinds of things. Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead. I think you can unmute.
So the documents that you talked about in the first section, how to promote coaching checklist and congratulations, are those in the Google Docs? Because I didn't see that.
No, I added those after. They're in my old system, my old binder system. So I'll add those in there. That's why I was saying if y'all want those, it was something that I added on after I kind of went through and set this up and kind of was looking at how I wanted to use this for my team. And I realized that I really wanted to have that titles and promotions piece in here because I thought it would be beneficial for when I was looking at everybody. So I can definitely add them.
Yeah, because I think that gets confusing. That like that's part of my problem is reading the reports, the downline reports, and we can obviously do a training offline.
Yeah.
Because I've never had a team as large as I do right now, and it's small, so don't get excited. But just the bigger it gets, right? The I need to familiarize myself more so with those reports, because typically I've only been focused on my own PRB. So I think that'd be a good cross reference and quick checklist to be able to check, see where they're at. because it does
Right.
get confusing.
And that was the other thing is I know a lot of people are like, I cannot keep up with everybody anymore. Like my team's growing. I don't know how to make sure I'm hitting everybody the way I need to hit them. And to me, this system, yes, it's a lot of paper. Like you're going to have one of these papers for each person, but each person's going to have your undivided attention for that time that you're looking at that information. And so that's where you're getting familiar with them as a consultant, and then you're getting familiar with them just as a person as well. And yeah, so there's that part of it. Any other questions? Because now I'm gonna get into the good stuff. All right, so the biggest part about this is you want to make sure that you're doing all of your frontline. Don't pick and choose who you're doing. Yes, we have people that aren't working their business right now. Yes, we have people that are in your frontline that never reach out to you, that never ask questions, that are just there. Does not matter. You still do a paper for them. You're going to do this on everybody because most of the time, these people are not going to reach out to you. They're just not. You need to reach out to them. Okay. And yes, we kind of, when we're talking about trainings, like we're wishy-washy on this part because we're like, we don't want to hand feed them everything. We don't want to give them all of the things, but also at the same time, we need to make sure that they know we're there. Okay. So you should be following up with all of your frontline at least once a month. Okay. So you need to be reaching out at least once a month. I would not do it that first week just because remember, this is something I've always said. That first week should be about your business. Okay. The first week is always about you and your business, not about the team. Okay. So remember that, drill that into your head. So maybe do it around when commissions run, maybe around the 10th. Pick a day that you're going to kind of follow up with them. It doesn't have to be the same day every month. If you look at your calendar and you're like, okay, yeah, that's not going to work. Pick another day, write it down so that you know on that day for that month, you're focusing on your front line. You are only going to reach out to them. You're going to look at those numbers. You're going to do all of that. Okay. So pick a day. And if your front line is huge, maybe pick 2 days. If you have a lot of people that are on your front line, spread it out. If you don't think you're going to have enough time in a day to hit everybody, then spread it out. Okay. Try it for 1 month. And then if you need to break it up, break it up. All right. But that's huge. You have to follow up with them at least once a month. Once you're following up with them, then you're going to start seeing who is actually wanting to work, who could care less about working, and who's kind of in between. They're like, I could do this, but I don't really know how much time I have for this. And so you're able to kind of pull that around. All right. Now, this is the fun part. Okay. So I'm going to throw some numbers at you. If you're not, I did not make a visual because I forgot. So if you're a visual person, I'm a visual person. So when people throw numbers out at me, Jen, so another part of that, because you asked if I do this mostly by text. The other part of this is in my first, so I'm going to be sending out. So this is a huge focus for me for the next 6 months is focusing on my frontline. I talked with my coach from Cincy, and this is something that I really, really want to work on. And one of the big things, this first text that I'm going to send out to everybody is going to be, which way of communication do you prefer? Because if I am emailing them and they don't check their email, what is the point of me sending that email? That's a waste of my time. It's a waste of their time. Okay. So if they prefer Facebook message, then I'm going to do Facebook message. And with Facebook message, I can actually do a voice text. So it doesn't even have to be a written thing. It can actually be a voice text. Now with texting, I do everything with Project Broadcast. So I need to see if I could send a video because I would prefer to even send a video of myself talking to them if I'm going to do that instead of texting, because I just feel like sometimes the texting is just, it's not personable. It's not as personable as it could be. And that's my biggest thing is I want to make sure that I'm still having these connections and relationships with everybody. And that's one of my biggest things right now. Um, okay.
Well, I mean, you guys know that um that's easiest for me, voice, because I have problems with my eyes. So um my team chat and everything, they know to, especially like this morning, I woke up and my eyes were worse. I was like, I really need you guys to do voice text. So um that that really helps me. And then with Project Broadcast, that's a great idea to do the video.
Yeah. So I need to look and see if it even would work. I don't know. I haven't tried. I know that I can send pictures. I don't necessarily know if I can do a video. So that is something
I
that I
think
am
I
looking
saw
at.
it on there, but I'm
Okay.
just starting.
Okay.
So when you're reaching out, Tori,
Mhm.
what are your talking points so that you're not sounding pushy? Like, hey, yes, what are some of those things that you're sending out on those videos or texts or emails or whatever that kind of
So
reels them in versus thinking that, hey, you're just checking on me because you want to know if I've gotten any numbers?
gotcha. So that's one of the reasons why I don't want to wait till the end of the month, because I don't want it to be that pushy piece where it's like, oh, you need to get X amount of PRV to, do whatever. Um, it's gonna be more of an acknowledgement of something that they did last month. So if they did something different, if it was something that stood out when I was looking at their sheet, that's something I'm going to look at. Oh my gosh, you had 4 people that were active last month. That is amazing. Great job. And if I see something that, you know, maybe they're, struggling with PRV or, but they got something on the board. Hey, great job, getting some sales last month. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help you increase that. Or if you're just and again, it's talking to them up front and asking like, hey, is this something you want to do? Like if it's somebody that I haven't talked to in a while, or has been ghosting me, one of the biggest things I'm probably going to do on this next message that I send out is, hey, I just wanted to reiterate, I'm Tori. I'm your sponsor or I'm your star director. And I wanted to know, is there anything I can help you with, Cincy? Did you join to do it? Were you being a kidnapper? And if you were being a kidnapper, no hard feelings. That's fine. I just want to make a note so that I'm not, constantly sending you messages. So the same way that I'm doing it with my customers, I'm going to kind of do that with my team, with my frontline too, because I need to know, do you want all the information that I'm sharing with you? Or is it too much information? Do you want to have a coaching call with me? Do you not want to have a coaching call with me? So it's one of those where I need to be willing to take rejection, is basically what it is. I have to be prepared to hear people say, no, I don't want to work this business. No, I just signed up to to steal the warmer, but I have to be okay with that. And that's something that's really hard for us because we work our butts off to get people to sign up and then they start ghosting us or they start, just ignoring us, or they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do a party. I'm going to do a party. 6 months later, they still haven't done a party. Guess what? They're probably not going to do that party. So it's time to just kind of be like, okay, fine, roll it off, let it go, and let's move on. Okay. Because we all had that. We've all had that happen to us. Y'all know I am the queen of constantly giving my parties away. I give free kits all the time. Haven't lately because I've just not been there. I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. My life has been a hot roller coaster of a mess, and my business has felt that. And so, one of the reasons why I was intent on doing this training was because I needed it for myself. I needed to do this for myself. And I wanted to share with you guys what I was doing because it's something I need for all of us, for everybody to be able to feel like they're getting something. I haven't been doing trainings lately. I haven't been doing any of that because don't have the energy, too exhausted, just don't want to look at people, don't want to be around people. You know, it's just it is what it is. That's where I'm at. And so, but if I'm not open and honest with people about that, they have no idea why I'm not present, why I'm not Tori, the one who's all over everything all the time, here, there, popping up anywhere that you can see. They have no clue why that's not happening. And so they're just like, oh, she's run her course. She's done. Yeah, that's not, I'm not done. I'm not going anywhere. Like, that's not happening. So
I think that's also why it's really important to get to know your team members personally, not just on a professional level to help them with their business, but personally, because I'm with you, right? I mean, I'm pregnant and 46 and I don't have any energy to do anything. My Scentsy business hasn't suffered, but it's not as good as it would have been last year, right? Like, and so last year I've always compared to the previous year. Well, I have to give myself some grace and say I'm not in the same position that I was last year to work my business. Still working it, I'm still consistent, but I've got a lot of delays and a lot of things. But I've been able to talk to several new recruits and explain that to them. And they have so much, believe it or not, they're like, oh my gosh, congratulations. Holy cow, didn't know you were pregnant. Like, you know, so that they feel wanted and needed and appreciated for being on your team, even though you haven't been as present. And that's the only thing that I've been able to do is at least reach out and say, sorry, I haven't been as present. These are the reasons why.
yeah.
And this is the first month that I've had 3 active frontline, and I've almost got a 4th one, and it's blown my mind, but our GWV is really poor. But it doesn't matter, because to me, those small victories are super important when I've got 3 active frontline that haven't been active in months.
Yep.
So I'm like, wow, well, what changed? So anyway, there's my 2 cents. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. You know, I love it. But yeah, so I wanted to kind of share that with you guys, because if we don't focus on ourselves and we don't see where we need the help, we can't help anybody else. And so that's where I was at that spot where I was like, okay, my business is suffering because I'm not putting my full into it anymore. So I need to back up a little bit and I need to figure out where I need to focus. And this was one of those focuses. Last month, my focus was PRV, my personal PRV. So that was where I was focusing last month. Now I'm focusing on Frontline and how to push and how to, you know, help them be successful. And the reason why, so this is where y'all are going to need to write, if y'all are number people that need to write numbers down. And then also if y'all want to share this with anybody else too. So the reason why you want active Frontline. Okay. So here is example A with a star consultant. Okay. So I don't know, maybe y'all can see this. So PRV is 1207. TWV is 3244. Active Frontline 3. They made $320. Okay. So PRV 1207, TWV 3244, Active Frontline 3. They made 320. Okay, this is a star consultant that's doing that. All right, so they made 320. So now we're going to look at star consultant B, who has pretty much the same amount of everything else. So we have 1209 PRV. The TWV was 3653, but the active Frontline was 7. Their paycheck was $512. Okay, so that's a $200 difference just for the increase in that active Frontline. All right, so again, we went from 3 active Frontline to 7 active Frontline, and we got about a $200 difference in that paycheck. Okay, again, a little bit more TWV, but not much. Okay, so that's one example of that. Now, with that, now we're going to go to director A and director B. All right, now, one thing I do want to say, y'all know I'm always big on saying, get that 2,000, get that 2,000, shoot for the 2,000, because you get that 5% extra, you know, you're going to get a $600 paycheck bare minimum. All right, now, I cannot shove that down your throat right now because I'm not doing that right now myself. So I cannot ask you to do that if I'm not doing it. That's the way that I feel. But that has always been one of my mottos is 2,000 a month, shoot for that. That should be your bare minimum goal. First 2 days, you should have 200 PRV. By the 5th day, you should have 500 PRV. That has always been my motto whenever I've talked to my girls. That has always been what I've said. Not by the 15th. No, I pushed them hard. It was by the 5th, 500 by the 5th, 200 by the 2nd. That was always my goal. So that first week of the month was always focused on myself, my PRV, and pushing to get that in so that the rest of the month, I could focus on my team. Okay. So that was something, because if I don't have my 500, I cannot focus on my team until I have that. So making sure that I had that by the 5th made it easier for me to be able to focus on my team. Okay. All right. So Director A had 1292. Their TWV was 16,857. And they had 4 active frontline. So their paycheck was only 987. Okay. So, I mean, that's a nice paycheck. Don't get me wrong. That's a nice paycheck. And that's not even with hitting 2,000 PRV. That's 1292, TWV 16,857, active frontline 4, $987 paycheck. All right. So Director B, though, about the same, 1290 PRV. TWV is 16,691. So they had less TWV than Director A, but they had 13 active frontline, which gave them a $1,400 paycheck. So if people are saying that having active frontline is not important, they're lying. Because that right there is showing you what the difference is in just having somebody active. All right. Now, y'all have always heard grow wide. Okay. We want to grow our frontline wide because we're going to have people in that frontline that are not constantly doing things. So you want to make sure you always have someone to replace somebody. You're going to have people fall off. You want to make sure you're always bringing in so that when somebody falls off, you have somebody that's able to replace that person. Okay. So always grow wide so that even if you have people fall, you can still gain that back. Okay. Any questions on the number part? No.
So that's synonymous no matter what your title is. So if it's lead or if you're superstar consultant, like the growth, the active frontline makes a difference no matter what title you are.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, now the biggest thing with that is if you have somebody that is the same title as you or surpasses your title that's on your team, you're not going to get paid on them. Okay. So if you have somebody that is you're superstar consultant, you have somebody that's a director, you're not going to get paid off of that person. Okay. So you just want to make sure that you're constantly staying with your people, and that they're not that same title.
So if you're director and they're director, you still don't get paid for them.
You get paid for them if they're, well, that gets a little.
Not TWV.
Right. That's why I didn't want to go there, because that's different. When we get up into the director piece, that's where the GWV and TWV really come into play heavy. Right now, when you're looking at your numbers, your number GWV and TWV are the same. When you get a director under you, your TWV is less than your GWV. Because that's your team. Your group includes all your directors and their team. So that's why I was like, I don't want to go there because that part gets really confusing when we start talking when you hit that director level and looking at those two numbers. Okay. All right. Any other questions on that? Okay. So the other big thing, like I said before, is you want to really make sure that you're recognizing the small wins for your frontline, not just those big wins. So I've said that multiple times during this, but it's something that's really big. One of the things that I want to say Anna Hughes talked about it, but then even the other person I watched today talked about it too, was when you're having somebody, it's smile mail is what it's called, is what she calls it. So smile mail. And what it does is it just to let people know that you appreciate them. And so what it is, she actually had another column on hers, on her sheet that I don't have on this one, but it was a column for mail. And so what she did is she made sure that everybody in her frontline got something from her at least once every 3 months. So it wasn't every month, but it was once every 3 months that somebody was getting something from her so that they knew she was thinking about them. And just to let them know that they were appreciated, whether it was a happy birthday, that month was their birthday, they sent something in the mail for the birthday. Their sensiversary. If it was their sensiversary, sent something in the mail. So just something, if they, got active for the first time in, 4 months, they sent a little celebration, something for that. So just different things for that piece. And then the other one that she did was she did happy mail to bring them back. So remember how I said we're going to move those pages to the will, cancel, and canceled? So what she did is she actually sent them mail on the month that they could reinstate. She put confetti and little candy in there and then a reinstatement letter to them. Hey, you can come back for free this month, hope to hear from you. Just to kind of get them excited again, get them excited about what's coming. It could be a little newsletter or see what's coming, see if you want to come back type of thing. Put in there to send to those people that have canceled and are able to kind of come back. I already talked about all of that.
So, Tori, I have a question about reinstatements.
Yep.
So I have a couple on my team.
Hold on. Let's come back to reinstatements.
Okay.
When I stop recording, just because I'm almost done with this part or almost done with the recording piece, and then we can go in all the different places. So the last thing I wanted to chat about, I'm going to make a note so that I don't forget to come back. So the last thing is, how do you get more active frontline? Okay, I know that's probably what y'all all been waiting for is, okay, how do we do this? Okay, yeah, we have the frontline, we're growing wide, we're doing all this, but we don't have a lot of active people. Okay, so one of the biggest things is making sure that the team is engaged. Okay, this is hard. Having an engaged team is so hard. You can do all the things, and they may not be engaged. Okay. I've got a Trello, however the heck you say that word now. I got Facebook. Is that a bruise? Good Lord. I got a big old bruise on my finger. I don't know where that came from. Sorry, squirrel. Trello. I have the project broadcast. I have Facebook. I have all of these things on different ways to communicate with my team. And I still get the same people that are participating in it. It's not anybody different. And so I get that having that team engagement is hard, but we have to find something that's going to get them engaged. And if it means that they're not engaged in a group setting, they're engaged more one-on-one, then that's what you need to do. Okay, keep them engaged, even if it's on a one-on-one level. Keep them motivated. Again, shouting out the small victories for them. Knowing personal victories and knowing business victories. Both of those are big. Okay. So if you know that somebody got a promotion at their job, help celebrate them. We're not just about Scentsy. We're about so much more than that. Now, we're so much more than just the business. We're friends, we're sisters. We've come into this and we've brought ourselves together, and knowing what somebody's going through is huge, you know um no knowing whose parents are ill, knowing who's a caretaker, knowing who's going through IVF or is pregnant, knowing who's planning a wedding, knowing who has recently lost a loved one, pet, parent, any of that stuff. Just knowing those things is huge. And yes, those are the sad things, but we can know those things and still keep them tuned into Scentsy by knowing about that and talking to them more than just Scentsy. Knowing that they have someone that cares about them is huge. And even if you talk to them and it's not anything about Scentsy for an hour, guess what? You're still having that conversation with them. You're still talking to them. You're still building that relationship the way that you should be building a relationship. And sometimes we just need to talk. We just need to have someone to sit. Christy and we're supposed to be only on for like an hour. Monday nights, we're on for like 3 hours sometimes. Literally 3 hours. Not about Scentsy, not 3 hours of Scentsy, just 3 hours of life, Scentsy, and more life. That's what we do. So having those, it's fine to do that. I mean, we're friends. we're really good friends. So yes, we're going to have those type of conversations, but but again, it's just, that's where the relationships come from. And keeping someone accountable, keeping them motivated, again, it's not just going to come from talking to them Scentsy, throwing up Scentsy in their face. Okay, it's going to be about building that relationship with them. But we also want to make sure that they're excited about Scentsy. So yes, we want them to be motivated, and we want them to know we're there for them, not just in the Scentsy capacity, but we want them to be excited about Scentsy. People have been very upset with some things that have been going on with Scentsy. Okay, sellouts, the shipping charge, this, that. Help problem solve. Keep them excited about these things. Okay, keep them excited about what's coming. Okay, don't just let them be negative about the things, but flip it around for them. Help them see the positive in it. Okay, I know some people were talking about, oh my gosh, we could really use a flash sale. We could really use a flash sale. Da, da, da. Did y'all not just see everything that was put in clearance? Like, hello, use that. I saw somebody put a graphic out there. So guess what? I stole the graphic and I posted it on my VIP page and I posted it on my personal page. Those are some good mystery bundles. And it's all in the clearance section. Nothing that has to come out of our pockets, because it's the exact price of what's in the clearance section. So twisting the way you're thinking, and that's one of the hardest things, is twisting the mindset that we have. Okay, so keeping them motivated about Scentsy, get them excited. If you're not excited, they're not going to be excited. If you're the one bitching and complaining about stuff, your team's the ones that are going to be bitching and complaining about stuff. If you have a negative attitude, your team's going to have a negative attitude. And trust me, I see it. When my energy level goes down, I see it on my team page. My team's energy is like gone. But once my energy comes back up, my team's energy comes back up too. It's just the way that we are one. As you can say, the team is one. If they know I'm not doing well, everybody's not doing well, which is not a good thing, but that's just the way that it kind of works. Correct. Let them know it's okay to not be okay. That's one of, and it's okay to be upset. And that's the other thing. I don't want you to think that you can't be upset about something. You can be upset about it, get it out, but then come back with an idea, come back with a solution, come back with a way to fix it. You know, when people were talking about the shipping, oh my gosh, it's going to be $10 every time we do it. Yeah, I was a little like about it, but bulk orders, if you bulk order already, it's not that big. It's not that big of a deal. Split that cost between everybody. You don't have to eat it every single time. Half the time people don't even realize that price has changed. They know it changes because you're making a big deal about it. That's the only reason they know it. We're making a bigger deal out of it than anything else. Okay. And then the last big thing is, again, maintain that relationship with them. Keep those relationships going. And keep looking, know what they're going to do with their business. Know, are they actually wanting to work it? Are they not wanting to work it? All of that jazz. So any questions? Not about reinstates yet. Any questions about the frontline focus piece of the forms or anything like that? Like I said, I'll put the rest of the forms in there for you guys so y'all have it all. And I'll have that there for you guys. All right, so I am going to stop recording. Thanks for watching. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay.